Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome to a very special episode of something. I don't know what we're calling it yet. This is something I think that I'm going to start doing here. It won't necessarily be regularly, but hopefully semi-regularly. I've never done this before, but I wanted to change things up a little bit, and I had a perfect opportunity to do it. And so what I bring to you today is two, count them, 1, 2 surprises. This isn't the first time I brought you surprises either. I have brought you surprises before, but I think you guys are really going to like this. So surprise number one to some of you, because I know I have viewers over in Europe, and you're looking at this going, I know what I'm looking at right now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is EGGD, or Bristol Airport in southern England. Now, the reason this is a surprise is really twofold. I'm just shrinking things down over there. Number one, because it's a new airport, and we always love getting new airports, right? Add-on airports are so much nicer than the default airports in 99% of the cases, right? And right here, I've got a couple of pictures and even flybys from the default before I loaded this in, and if I'll decide during the editing, but those, you may be looking at those right now, maybe going back and forth or something like that. But whether I decided to do that or not really doesn't matter, because what you're looking at here is a very beautiful rendition of Bristol Airport. Now, why is Bristol such a big deal all of a sudden? Well, quite frankly, the guys who made this airport, they contacted me and asked me if I would show it in one of my videos. And I said, yeah, absolutely. They were kind enough to give me a copy of it. You know, there's no secrets here on the Captain Mac channel. I did receive this as a free copy in exchange for showing the airport. And they didn't require anything of me except that I show it in a flight. And I've been racking my brain trying to think of what's a good flight, or just that I showed it in a video. And for me, I don't do reviews per se. That's not really my thing. So we are going to be doing a flight today, and that flight is part of the surprise. But I did want to take the opportunity. You know, they were kind enough to provide this airport to me. The least I could do is show it a little bit, because I'll tell you what, they did a heck of a job. So just a little bit of background here real quick. So Bristol is a regional airport in the southwest of the UK. Now, it's only got a 6,500 foot runway, but the 787 does fly in and out of here. TUI fly, I think that's how you say it, TUI. Let me know if I'm wrong on that, guys. EasyJet and Ryanair all have made bases here at Bristol Airport. Now, what's really cool about this airport is sold through Orbix. But it's created by a company called Pilot Plus. So if you go to Orbix and go to the Europe section, you can find EGGD in there. And it just, as far as I know, it just released recently. But the coolest thing about this to me is that the guys who made this airport, including the guy that I was in contact with directly, they're from Bristol. This is their hometown, which means they're going to have some cool little details in here that you might not see otherwise, and I just think that's really awesome. That really stuck out to me, and they did an excellent job on this airport. But I think what stands out to me the most as far as this airport goes, and this is just a me thing, is the ground markings. Now, anybody can do ground markings, but they did a really good job. You can see from here some of these ground markings, they're faded and worn out a little bit. You can see the different textures as they've overlaid new pavement and stuff over the brick, or whatever it is they've done. You can really see that stuff in here, and I think that's really cool. Now, what I want to show you too is I want to show you the night lighting in the overview, because I think they did a great job on that as well. Just look at the way this airport lights up at night. I really love it. I think the whole scheme just looks absolutely fantastic. I've obviously got the sim paused right now. There's a couple aircraft taxiing for departure, and I just didn't want too much distraction going on when I took the opportunity to show this. So the night lighting to me looks really good. I love how it's super dark out here, kind of like it should be on a real airfield, but nice and lit up on the ramp. Now, I don't know if this is how it is, but this area of the ramp looks a little dark to me, and that may be how the airport is in real life. But it's just really cool to me, and I even pulled up some, I made some extra views for you guys here. Nice view looking down the approach of runway 27, and then they got the nice little sign up here. You know, they just again, it's going to be little details. I was actually looking for. I've got an overview from the other side, and so like they've got the whole. Where the baggage carts run back here, they've got the whole thing's done really good. I'm just really impressed with it. Now I want to jump back to a daytime view because our flight's going to be during the day. Now, like I was saying, you know, to me, it's the ground textures really, or the ground markings really just stand out. I think they did a great job on those. I really like that. I love all the lighting detail. And little things like this little railing and stuff like that. And this is not to say that other people companies that create other airports aren't doing just as good of a job. I think most of these companies do an amazing job. And again, this isn't really a review of Bristol Airport by Pilot Plus, but I do think they did a great job, and I'm really appreciative and you know, very grateful, in fact, and humbled even that they would ask me if I would show it on one of my videos. And I thought, you know, again, I don't really do reviews, but it's a great opportunity to highlight a good product that's out there. You know, I just think I think that was really cool, and so I really appreciate that. So huge thanks to the guys over at Pilot Plus for giving me an opportunity to highlight this airfield for them. It's not super expensive. It's about $24 US. So just really great. But look, I mean, the signs, even the signs look a little older, a little worn out. That's some good attention to detail. The side of the edge of the tarmac here, it's all broken up, you know, instead of just being straight and perfect and flat. You've got your embedded lights inside the taxiway here, right? And it could be the littlest things, like see how the lights aren't perfectly straight. I'm assuming that that's probably how it is in the real world, because these guys really took the time, you know, again, they're from there, so they really took the time to go out there and get all these little details. And for me, ground markings are a pretty big deal. I don't know why, it just is. It really adds to the realism and the feel of an airport, right? Is when you've got good solid ground markings. You know, not necessarily super visible, because sometimes your ground markings, you know, they're faded and whatnot. I think about the only thing that I'd really like to see different is, and I don't know if this is a P3D thing or what, but like some darker areas in the touchdown zone, you know, stuff like that really sort of brings it a little more to life. And I don't know if that's from them or what. And I don't think, so these textures aren't like crooked, right? So there's like terrain features here. So the runway is going to be relatively flat, but not perfectly flat. And so while in FSX and P3D, most of you are thoroughly aware that all runways are perfectly flat, changing up the texture a little bit can give the impression that the runway is not perfectly flat until you get down here, and then you see, okay, yeah, it's perfectly flat. So it looks to me like that's what they did. They tried to use a little bit of the, you know, a little bit of how they operated the textures, or how they put the textures in, to kind of change it up in a way that gave a visual appearance of the runway not being perfectly flat. That's the impression I get. Now, if that's not what they did, then they need to straighten those out. But overall, I do think they did a great job on this, and I really appreciate them taking the time to get in touch with me. You know, they modeled everything around it too. You've got, you know, hangars and other buildings. You've got all these parking lots out here. All that stuff was modeled by them. In fact, there was one area, they put some signs over here I wanted to show you as well. You know, but they modeled all this in there, which is really great. You know, some add-on airports, they don't take the time to do that. So again, not a review per se. You know, I will say this, it hasn't been hard on the frame rates, which is always super nice. There are a few things I think maybe could be a little cleaner looking, but overall, I think it just looks fantastic. And, you know, for $24, you can't really beat it, right? So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you for providing me with this airport. I want to start doing more flights in Europe, and I know there are a lot of you who'd like to see that as well. So this is going to provide a good jumping off point, if you will. Now, what we're doing today is a jumping back in point to something else, and that's going to bring me to surprise number 2. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start flying our 787 Dreamliner again. We started a tour a while back, 787 Global Tour, and it's time to get back to it. Now, with that being said, the last flight we flew on the Global Tour took us to EGCC, I believe it was. And so when I was trying to think, what's the best way I can highlight Bristol Airport here and still kick this off, right? Get back into our global tour. And so I thought, okay, our pilots have been on hiatus and we found them down in Bristol, and so we're going to fly a 787 which does fly in and out of Bristol, right? So the 787 Dreamliner flies out of this airport for TUI Air. So we're going to fly over from here to EGCC, which isn't very far. It's only a couple hundred miles. I don't even think it's a couple hundred miles. I don't remember what it is, but it's not far at all. It's a very short flight. But we're going to fly from here over to EGCC, and that is going to put us in position to get back on our 787 Global Tour, or our Global 787 Tour, whatever I called it. I don't know what I called it. So thanks again to the guys from Pilot Plus. We're going to get a little more look at this airfield as we taxi out of here. I'm going to have to set up a custom GSX pushback. We'll see how that goes. But overall, I think you guys did a great job on this, and I'm looking forward to many flights in and out of here. So with one of the longest introductions we've ever had, and without further ado, what do you say we climb up in the office and get to work? All right, welcome to the flight deck. I have taken the liberty of relocating our aeroplane here, and the reason is that parking space we were in just was not right for this aircraft. Now, that being said, speaking of this scenery, I think that, so all of the gates and stands are medium. I think it needs a couple large ones. I would assume that it has a couple that have been expanded in some way, shape, or form, because the 787 does fly out of this airfield now. But unfortunately, we had to customize GSX, and the spot we were in was just too crowded. It was way too crowded for this aircraft. So I moved it over here, and this is definitely a little bit better. And then I was able to customize this spot for GSX. And other than it inching itself forward after doing the, what do you call it, the slew mode for setting the pushback, after doing that, it moved forward a little bit. But other than that, this spot works pretty well. I mean, technically we're just on the edge there. In real life, this spot would still not be considered big enough. But anyway, enough about that. Now, we are cold and dark. This will be the only flight so we're going to hop over, like I said, we're going to scoot over to EGCC, I believe it is. And then we're going to get back on our 787 Global Tour. This will be the only flight where we are going to see this aircraft in cold and dark. The reason is twofold. Number one, well, it's threefold. Number one, I've done a full flight tutorial on this aircraft that shows you how to start it up from cold and dark, and you're going to get a little taste of that today. So this is going to take a little while, and that's really reason number two. It takes a long time to go from cold and dark to up and running on any aircraft, really. And then number three is that's simply not how they receive the aircraft 99% of the time. But because we haven't done it in a while, it's a good refresher for me, a good refresher for you guys. Excuse me. So we are going to go from cold and dark on this flight. So without further ado, let's start with our flight deck safety inspection. Now the way this works is the battery switch is going to come on, and then it says, note the 787 battery drains fast. Establish external APU electrical power as soon as practical after turning the battery on. So that's what we're going to do. We've got electrical power available. So battery comes on. Maybe. I think I paused it. Yeah, I paused the sim. Battery on, electrical power on. You only got to click one of them. and it brings the power on. If you click the other one, it'll just turn them both off. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, but that's what's been happening with me. So all right, let's press on. Hydraulic panel, that's back up top here. So C1 and C2 pump switches should be in the off position, which they are, and the demand pump selectors also in the off position, which they are. Wiper selectors are off. That's on both sides. So this side and this side, the wiper selectors are off. Nav light switch is supposed to be on, and then this says that they stay on, period. That's just the way it is. We don't need logo lights. Landing gear lever is down, and you do want to confirm that your ICAS display shows it down as well, which it does. So landing gear, the lever is down, and the ICAS shows it down right here. So good stuff. Alternate flap arm switch is off. That's up over here. It is off. I can promise you that. Alternate flap selector. I'm sorry. That's the alternate. Yeah, alternate flap arm switch and the alternate flap selector. So that's both of these, and they're both in the off position, which is good. Parking brake needs to be set, which it's not. It is now. So you have to have power on the aircraft to set the parking brake, and then if you turn the power back off, the parking brake goes off. So keep that in mind. We did establish external power using our QualityWings control panel here. You just click right here. She pops up, put your external power, wheel chocks, all that stuff can go on. While I'm thinking about it, I'm going to pop up GSX here. Now, it won't even pop up unless you customize the position, but I'm going to go ahead and request boarding. We got that going, and let's go ahead and get our doors open. So left one, they're going to use this door back here. Let's get all the cargo doors open because I don't know which ones they're going to use. All right, so all those doors open, coming open anyway. Give them just a second here. Okay, and that should get GSX to work loading the aircraft. Now, we're not going to turn the APU on at the moment. It's a very simple process. I'll just read through it here real quick. If the APU will be started to be used as initial source of electric power, wait 90 seconds after turning on the battery to allow the core systems to power up. And then for turning on the APU, it's start then on, and that's it. And then you go on to the APU bus, which is really very simple, okay? Moving on though, we need to get our, and I'm going to move pretty quick through this because I don't want to be here all day. IRS selectors go to the on position, and then it takes about 30 seconds for those to align or whatever, and then we'll take care of our CDU. In the meantime, we can jump down here and we can put this on our systems page, and then hydraulic quantities. We're supposed to make sure that it doesn't say RF or OFs, which would be needs to be refilled or it's overfilled. And we also want to check our liquid cooling and our oxygen, make sure that they're all good for the flight, which they are. We can check our circuit breakers. We're on the open or trip circuit breaker page, which is where we want to be, and we want to make sure there's none that are open, and we're good to go. Engine display switch, it says to push the engine display switch, and that'll drive you nuts unless you realize it's actually just talking about this guy right here, and that's for this. And we're checking the oil quantity here. We need to make sure that we have at least 18 quarts. We've got 21, and I need a coffee. All right, there we go. The ICAS display. Oh, just so you know, for the IRS alignment, it's the 787, and I don't know if it does this in the real world, but for the QualityWings version, it pulls your position from the sim, so you don't down here you don't actually have to do anything for the initialization. So we'll just jump there for just a sec. So we can put in our reference airport, and then so that's EGGD, right? So EGGD, we'll put that in there, and then the gate's not going to work anyway, but it's going to automatically do the alignment, right? So it says set IRS or initial position, but it's going to do it on its own. I don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to do it on its own. So moving on. On the ICAS display, that's the engine instrument and crew alert system. That's these guys. Well, that's this guy here, really. It says, I just heard a weird noise behind me. Verify that the messages displayed are normal for this phase, and they are, so we're good. Okay, jumping up to the overhead panel, and we've got a pretty solid flow here. So we're going to basically go down, come back to the top, go down, back to the top, go down. Okay, so flight control surfaces, that needs to be set, which they are. So it's the tail switch and the wing switch are both normal, which means you shouldn't see anything, so we're going to leave those alone. Heading reference switch needs to be normal as well. That's this guy right here. And it is. Primary flight computer disconnect switch is guard closed and light extinguished. This is closed, light's extinguished. Battery switch is on and the light is extinguished. IFE passenger and the cabin utility both need to go on, and the off lights should extinguish. APU generator switches both go on even though we're not running the APU. See how I clicked both and they went off? It does the same thing with external power. So just click one of them and then the lights should go out. Generator control switches should be on and the lights should be on as well. APU selector is required. It's off for now. Left wiper selector is off, this guy right here. And then we jump back up top. Towing power. It should be, the switch should be off. It just says towing power panel lights off. So there's no lights on here, so we're good to go. Flight deck door power switch is on. And that is this one here. And it doesn't say that the light should be off, but it makes sense that it would be. CCR reset switches, guard closed. That's these two here. They have a guard over them. The guard is closed. Emergency light switch, it says guard closed. So close the guard. Right click to close it. Service interphone switch, it says off, which it's in the off position right now. Alright, passenger oxygen should be on. Passenger oxygen on light, guard closed. So it doesn't, there is no on light. You can open the guard by right clicking, but it does have a warning on here. It says do not push the passenger oxygen switch. The switch causes deployment of the oxygen masks. Alright, so leave the guard closed and we'll just move on. Window heat panel right below it here needs to be set, so all the window heat should be on. There we go. And then ram air turbine, unlocked light, verify, extinguish. That's this guy here. Same thing. It's got a guard on it. The guard is closed. Don't push it or it deploys the ram air turbine. The only way to reset it is to reload the aircraft. Okay, looking at the hydraulic panel, left and right engine primary pump switches are both on. C1 and C2 are both off, and the fault lights illuminated on both these and these, and then fault lights down here as well with both the electric demand pump selectors in the off position. Seatbelt signs in the auto position works best for me. Cabin chime just because. Lighting panel, overhead panel light mid position, so that's this one here, and it doesn't have a mid position, it's on or off, but we can see a little better with it on. I can turn the domes on too. Seems a little dark in here, doesn't it? I guess I could have done that sooner, sorry. Moving on, master brightness control as needed, so you can crank this up or down and it changes the brightness, supposedly. It looks the same to me either way. Glare shield panel light control in mid position, same thing. It's either on or off, but that one can go mid position, so I don't know if it's talking about the outer knob or the inner knob. Ground test selector is in normal, and that is back up here, normal. And then what's next? APU fire panel, verify the APU bottle discharge light is extinguished and the APU fire switch is in. That's this guy right here. And then cargo fire pane, the arm switches are both off. That's these two here. And verify the discharge light is extinguished. This one here, which it is. You should be able to do the test, even though it doesn't say to do it here for some reason. EEC switch is normal. Start selector is normal. Fuel jettison panel, all of these should be off, no lights, and this should be in. So you would right click to pull it out and left click to push it in. There's no point in messing with it unless you need to dump fuel. More coughing in your face there. Okay, fuel pumps all off right now, and then if you're on the APU, this pressure light should be out. I'm trying to pick up the pace just a little bit here. Anti-ice is all on auto, nav light is on, all other lights are off. You can do your lights test here if you want. There you go, all the lights are working. If you do that, you got to hold the button down while you scroll away, and then you come back and click it again to turn them off. And let's see, where are we at here? Okay, lighting's good. ELT switch up top is guarded. The humidification switch, it says, should be on, so click that guy on. Forward cargo as desired, the position is good there. That light should be on auto. These should both be on auto. Upper and lower recirc fans. Let me just double check on here. Should both be on. These are supposed to be in the 10 o'clock position, so put them there. Left and right packs go to auto. Trim air switches go on. Ventilation switch should show normal, which it does. Pressurization, leave all those on auto. Give that a left click just to make sure she's pushed in, and then right wiper selector off. There you have it. Then that takes us to our IFAS control panel. And I got a cough again. My throat is like all kinds of scratchy and obnoxious right now, so I apologize for coughing in your face so much, although some of you apparently that's what makes a Captain Mag video, right? Okay, IFAS control panel here. So minimums, we're going to stay on radio for now. We're going to stay on inches. I know we're flying in Europe, but my brain does not like to calculate between the hectopascals and the inches. It doesn't like to calculate between pounds and kilograms. It's just not functioning properly when it comes to those things, and so quite simply, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm going to keep it on the US settings, and you guys will just have to deal with it. But I love you all anyway. Okay, so moving on. We can change our flight path vector. We can display meters above feet there if we want. I don't want to do that. Range as we want it. We do need to set the local altimeter setting, and I didn't look at it, but I'm going to do the cheater way and hit the Bravo key, and that's going to adjust it for now. Nav display is on map, which it is right here. You can change the plan mode just by clicking on it. These are touchscreen in the real aircraft, so one thing you can do too if you want, once you get ready to fly, which was it here? You can move this one over here. I'm just trying to remember. No, it's not that one. One of these buttons. I'll find it sooner or later, but we'll move this over here when we get ready to take off. I just can't remember which button it is for, or there's a button or a knob that will switch this panel or this display function over to here, which is my preference because, yeah, so it's not that. It's not that. I don't know, it's kind of bugging me right now. I just can't remember which it is. But anyway, that'll be my preference, and that's what we're going to do. So I'll figure it out when the time is right. It's not that big a deal right now. Moving on. Let's see, nav display is as we want it, and then it says nav display mode push. I don't know. Menu select map selections as needed, and then center switch as needed, so you can change the way it centers up. You can have that or that, and then there's supposed to be how do you do the you're supposed to be able to get a vertical profile and everything on here, but it's been a little while since I messed with this thing. I'll figure that stuff out before we get cruising, but let's move on for now, otherwise we're going to be here all day. And then you can display the airport map too if you scroll the range down. But you have to select airport. So it's this menu here, select airport, and oh yeah, this is how you do it right here. You could also select your traffic, weather, terrain, and then your vertical situation. This is what I was thinking of that shows your terrain as you're descending or whatever. I think it's not showing an airport because we haven't done the FMC yet, which we can jump over to that now because the alignment's done, right? So let's go back to index. Start at the IDEM page. We're 787-800. We got the updated AirAC. Those are the right engines. We're good to go on all that. Performance initialization. We've got the EGGD put in there, so we can jump straight over to our route. And I did put in a route for this, so we'll request that. It'll load that in for us, and then the flight number was 2901. That was, I just made that up, just so you know. I made up a flight number for it. So TUI 2901, we'll put that in right here. The runway is going to be, I guess I have to check that weather now, don't I? Get it to reload, and we're expecting runway 9, so that's what we're going to do for now. We can clear the message off there. So runway 9, put that in. Airport code not found. What are you talking about? Maybe you got to put in 09. It's not 909. Let's try this again. One more time here. 09. There we go. Runway 09. Fantastic. And then we can go to next page, which is over here. And so this has direct to Bacon is what I think that's supposed to mean. And if I look at our route over here, so it's Bacon 1X is our departure. So let's go departure arrival. And Bacon 1X, and so this one it says for runway 27, but when I look at my departure chart here, I see that this one is applicable to both runways. Oh no, you know what? I know what it is. It's Bacon 1Z is the departure, it looks like, for runway 9. Yep, Bacon 1Z. So, let's go back up. It didn't execute that, did it? It shouldn't have. Let's go back departure arrival, and let's go Bacon 1Z, and then that'll be runway 9. There we go. And now when we look at our route, there we go. That's what we're looking for right there. And then real quick, we can put in the rest of our route. I know it goes quiet every time I touch that. I don't know if there's a setting for that in here or not. I didn't look. So then there's going to be an airway, November 864, and that goes out to Monty, so that's good. And then from there, it's on to our arrival. This is a very, very short flight, by the way. So we're looking at Mercy. Is that Mercy 1A? Next page, Mercy 1A. There's Mercy 2B. So it's going to depend on what runway we're landing on. If I look at the weather right now for EGCC, it's saying runway 23 left. So, let's go next page. There we go. There's only an RNAV, and then there's 23 left. So let's pick the RNAV, and then that should limit which departures we can pick. So Mercy 1A is one of those, or which arrivals I mean. So that should work out nicely for us. And then as far as a transition goes, I don't see Monty on there, so no transition for us. So execute that, go to route. We didn't have to execute it, so direct to Monty, go next page. There's Marissa. There's our route discontinuity there, and I'm going to leave that in there for the moment, and I'll take care of it later if needed. So activate, execute, performance initialization page. That's our fuel right now. It's way more than we need, I can promise you that. We're going to be flight level 220. Oh, they're talking in the back. And cost index is going to be 85. And our reserves, our final reserves are scheduled to be... Where is it at? Final reserves 4364. We're going to be just fine, so we'll just put 5,000 in there. That takes care of reserves. And just making sure everything's good. It looks like it is. We don't have the performance initialization request function. So this is thrust limit, so you can derate it by just putting in a temperature here. I think we're just going to use, we can do a 10% derate. We're not heavy at all. And we'll use climb 1. We should have no problem. It is a short runway, but we should have no problem getting off the runway. Go to our takeoff page, and you can see, let's do center of gravity trim, 21. That's going to put our trim at 4.25. That's got flaps at 5, which I think will work out just fine for us. It's going to put us 129, 132, and 143, all confirmed. I don't think you need to do anything with that. Let's execute all of that. And that takes care of our FMS pre-flight. Wow, that is really bright. I think you have to actually go in the config file to change that brightness. And I didn't do it. Okay, moving back over to where we were before. Map selections are as needed, MD center switch as needed. And then it says do not use the airport maps primary navigation. Thank you. Alright, ICUS transfer switch as needed. Select ICUS to the desired side. That's the switch I'm looking for, is the ICUS transfer switch. Which one is it? It's this one. That's what I wanted right there. So I like that because we're flying. I like to have my nav information over here. I've got the airport selected, but it's not showing an airfield for us. So, and then we can do terrain, weather, all that stuff. But yeah, that's not showing an air. Oh. Yeah, it's not showing it. I don't know why that is. Isn't it supposed to show up on there? Maybe there's something I'm supposed to press that does that. Position, I don't need that. Data, that's just going to be waypoint data. Yeah, you know, honestly, I don't know. But anyway, we're moving on with it. Nav data weather switch is off, which it is. So there's the weather switch there. Verify the weather radar indications are not shown on the nav display or PFD mini map. So if it's on, then it shows weather down there, and then when it's off, it doesn't show weather. Mode control panel, flight director switches need to be on, 1 and 2. Those are both on. Auto throttle arm switches need to be in the armed position, both of them up there. Autopilot disengage bar is up, that's this one here. Heading track reference switch as needed. So that's, where's heading track? This guy right here. We're going to leave that on auto. We're going to stay on heading mode, not track mode. Bank limit selector will stay on auto, vertical speed, flight path angle, all that stuff. There's a million different things you can do here. What was our V2? V2 was 143. Let's just finish setting this up. So 143 plus 5 is going to be 148. So let's put this at 148. That's our V2 plus 5. Okay, and then for our altitudes, just taking a quick peek at our departure here. So we've got a maximum altitude of 6,000 feet, which is also going to be transition level, and we should be able to change that in here. Let me just double check while we're sitting here. VNAV is what I need, and so 250 up to 10,000. Yep, that's good. So here's transition altitude. So transition altitude is 6,000 feet. So 6, 1, 2, 3. Nope, that's 2. There we go. Put that in there, and that's going to be super helpful for you. Trust me. So make sure you put that in there. What else? Bank limit selector. Yep, it's good. Vertical speed, flight path angle, all that stuff is good. We've set our altitude to 6,000 feet. That's where we want it. And I'm just trying to think. We can arm LNAV and VNAV if we want. Other than that, there's not much else to do with this thing at the moment. So we can move on. Need to check our oxygen mask real quick. This is a lot. This is why we are not doing cold and dark every time. Alright, there's just too much to do. Forward panel brightness control, that's this guy down here. We're going to leave that alone. We don't need it. PFD, MFD selector normal. I put a little tick mark here for some reason, but I have no idea why. Let's move on. Flight instruments have been checked. They're good. The indications are correct. TCAS is off. No V-speeds until takeoff V-speeds are selected. Well, we've already done that. Where do those show up at? Those are just going to be right here, right? Should they show up in here somewhere? There's no menu for this or anything. This just has our transponder code and stuff like that. And I don't think this is just for stuff over here. So can we select airport? Nah, it doesn't let us. Okay, moving on. Auto throttle mode is blank. So it's not. We got Toga on there. I don't know why it would be blank. Roll mode, it says roll mode is Toga or HUD Toga. Okay, I think because we selected LNAV, VNAV, it's a little different. Anyway, moving on. Landing gear panel, normal. Landing gear is down. Alternate gear switch is guarded and closed. Auto brake selector needs to go to RTO. Give it a left click. There we go. Moving on. Aisle and the control stand. Speed brake lever is down. Thrust reversers are down. Forward thrust levers are closed. Parking brake is set. Stabilizer cutout switches. It says guard closed. That's these two right here. They are closed. Fuel control switches are cut off. Fuel control switch fire warning lights, verify they're extinguished. That's these two or these two. I'm not sure which, but they're all extinguished, so we're good. Alternate flaps panel is set. The arm switch is off and the selector is off as well. And let's see, we're not going to tune the audio. I'm not worried about that. Flap lever is set. It's 0 and it shows 0 up here, which is what it should show. And flight deck door access selector to auto. Where was this one at? I'm sure it's back here somewhere, right? Yeah, flight deck door to auto. There we go. And moving on. Engine fire panel. Verify the engine bottle 1 discharge and bottle 2 discharge lights are extinguished and the engine fire switches are in. That's probably going to be up top, right? I'm thinking that's up top. Let's jump up top here. I don't see that up here. All I see is the APU fire. So engine bottle 1 and 2 discharge lights are extinguished. Drawing a blank on this one, guys. Where's that at? Oh, it's these two right here in front of my face. What am I talking about? These two lights were probably the ones for the fuel control. These two are for the bottle 1 discharge lights. Okay, moving on. Glide slope inhibit switch below glide slope light extinguished. So that would be up front here, right? Glide slope inhibit is usually up front here somewhere. Yeah, you can't tell it's been a while since I flew this thing, can you? Where is the glide slope inhibit switch? I'm not going to look for it all day. I'm going to look for it for a few more seconds. It's right there in front of my face all along. Transponder mode selector should be on standby, which it is. There's no lights. Floor light switch as needed, which would be... We're on this panel, obviously, so floor lights are somewhere down here, but I don't see floor lights. That's alright, move on. Evacuation command switch, guard closed. That's this one right here. That's panel, stand lights, OBS norm, floor lights. There we go. Dim or bright. We're going to go with dim. Fantastic, I found it. Seat has been adjusted. CDU EFB pre-flight is completed. Moving on. So that actually brings us to actually doing the checklist. So that's all just the procedures, right? So then the checklist for pre-flight is parking brakes are set. In fact, let me do this. Let's go checklist. There it is. So you've got this checklist, and then you've got the printed version that I have. The printed version says parking brakes are set, battery switch is on, APU generator and master are both off, external power is on, landing gear is down, flap lever is up, speed brake lever is retracted, on and on it goes. In the end, oxygen is tested at 100%, flight instruments, headings, altimeter, all that stuff is set, which will take us 2 hours before start checklist. See, that didn't take too long, right? Alright, so keep in mind, guys, those are all flows. That's all flows. You go through that relatively quick when you do it on your own, especially as you get better at it. Okay, so we're getting ready for our before start, or it's our before start, before push procedure. We need to bring the APU on first. So right click again, and then when we jump down here, let's jump all the way down. We'll pull up, should be able to pull up the APU on here, right? Yep, so here's the APU spinning up right here. Let's make sure our doors are closed. They're not gonna be. You can't do anything about them on here. GSX should be done loading, right? That is a lot. Are they waiting for me to open that door? They are. They are waiting for me to open that frickin' door. Oh, you kill me with this stuff. Why? So I guess we're gonna have to wait on that. Let's finish going through our before start procedure. So APU, we're getting that spun up here. Let's go back over to status page. We can close that for now. APU is just about done spinning up. Seatbelts are on, or seatbelt sign is on. You might be able to hear passengers loading back there finally, since apparently they can't load unless that door is open. That's the thing about GSX that drives me a little cuckoo sometimes. Hydraulic pumps all need to go on or auto. So if we jump up top here, on, auto, fantastic. Let's see, it says on here, right demand pump selector auto, left demand pump selector auto, that's these two here, and then the C1 and the C2 both auto as well. Fuel's good. Fuel pumps all need to come on now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no fuel in the center, so we don't need to turn that one on. Stab and rudder trim need to be set at this point, so we need to go to our flight controls page, and we can, come on, hop down here. I like that you can do this down here, because I can go on here and I can just jump, I can just index it and go to the takeoff page. And so we need to be at 4.25. If I go to flight controls, you can see I'm at 4, right? So let's bring it up. Oh, it's just one click. 4.25. There we go. And we still don't have hydraulics to do flight control check because the engines aren't running, but at least we got that set now, right? What else? Stab rudder trim is set, and then it's going to bring us to making sure all the doors are closed, which we're going to have to wait a few minutes for them to finish loading. So I'm going to let them do that, and then I'll come back on. We will push and start. Alrighty, folks, boarding is finally complete. Let's hop down here and let's make sure we go through our before start checklist really quick. Passenger signs are on. MCP is set. Takeoff speeds. We can look at them again real quick. 129, 132, and 143. CDU pre-flight is complete. Taxi and takeoff briefing is not. And that's what we need to do next. So let's take a looky-see here. Hold on, I gotta get it set up. There we go. Alright, here we are at Bristol Airport. We're going to be taking runway 09 for departure right here. And I know we didn't go over the flight plan. I apologize, but trust me, it's short. 09 is going to be our departure. We're over here on the west apron, so we're going to push back that way. So we're pointed this way. And then we're going to take Golf up here until we hold short of runway 9. It's pretty straightforward, right? ATIS is on 126.030, delivery on 121.930, and towers on 133.850. Now, takeoff run available for runway 9 from the runway head is 6,598 feet. That's our takeoff space. Now let's look at our departure. Okay, so as you can see, we're on the Bacon 1Z departure. I'm assuming it's Bacon. It could be Beacon. I don't know. You guys tell me if you're from that area. If you're from the Bristol area or just from England in general, maybe you know. But I think it's Bacon. So Cardiff radar on 125.855. London control. We are going to be southbound, I believe. Well, we're going to start out westbound. So 129.380, airport elevation 622 feet, transition altitude 6,000 feet. We are using a runway 9, which is 087 degrees. And you can see we're going to climb out here, and then once we reach between 3,000 and 6,000 feet, which it says at 5.4 nautical miles from IBON, we're going to start a left turn to 305 degrees. We need to come through here between 4,500 and 6,000 feet, and then 6,000 here. And then it looks like after we cross this D15 to Bacon, which is 15 nautical miles from Bacon, then we can start our climb and probably go on course from there. And if you look down here, it says climb straight ahead to cross distance 5.4, which we already mentioned, at or above 3,000 with a max of 6,000. Turn left, intercept the Bacon. It's Brecon, isn't it? Yes, it is. It's Brecon. Am I pronouncing that right? Brecon? Or is it Brecon, Brecon? I don't know. I have a feeling that I'm pronouncing it wrong. I really do. But anyway, so intercept the Brecon 150 radial inbound, cross at 20 nautical miles above 4,500. Basically everything we just talked about. Max at 250 knots below flight level 100 unless otherwise authorized. I don't think we're going to have a problem with that. We are not very heavy. That, ladies and gentlemen, takes care of our taxi and takeoff briefing. So we can complete that. We can put the beacon light on. If I can get up that high. There we go. Beacon light on. And that should automatically complete the checklist, which it does. And that takes us to our before taxi checklist, which, of course, we will do after we push and start. Alrighty, so we're getting GSX ready to go here. Prepare for pushback and departure. We should see somebody coming in over here. There is, like, no room for him there, though. That's my bad. It is really hot in this little office I'm in. I'm telling you guys, I cannot get it to cool down in here for nothing. It's driving me nuts. I need to get this bird in the air so I can cool off. Let's go ahead and crank our range out just a little bit here so we can actually see what we're doing. And what we can do...
Ready for pushback.
Yep, we're waiting on you, buddy. I probably need to remove chocks, though, right? I need to put... it's this guy, I think. Yeah, I like having that. I don't know, I just like it. Okay, let's remove the wheel chocks. Okay, good. Brakes are on, so they're not telling us, oh, you can't have those on. Let's see, to put this on the CDU for now, and then for the moment, I'm going to switch these back over. I kept those settings. I like that. I think that's awesome. And then he's got the checklist, so he doesn't have the full thing right now anyway, but I want this page where I can see it better. And then that's 2.7 push. I want that one.
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes.
No, parking brake. There we go.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Okay, so the startup is very simple for this. It's an auto start. We're going to start with engine number 1. We're going to move the ignition to start, and then we're going to put the fuel into the run position, and then we're going to look for auto start on here, which should show above the left N2 indication. So here's the N2. We should see auto start above that. So come up here, left engine to start.
Starting engines.
Put that to run. And our packs and everything are on auto. You can see auto start popped up right there, which is what we wanted. And we just wait for the engine to start and the pushback to complete, which is a pretty good edited pushback if I do say so myself. And I do. Because why not? Alrighty, we're set at 6,000. I'm just double checking everything. What's our runway heading? 078, right? I want to set that on here. These engines are super quiet too. 1, 2, there we go. And I want to pop this up because I want to show you guys the engine starting up on the right side. Okay, so it shows the engine running now. I'm just letting it stabilize a little bit. And I'm going to just wait until they have a start, and then we will start the right engine. So I'm trying to be a little quicker when I start the right engine because I want to show it to you spinning up, just because I think it's cool. Should be stopping here in just a second. This airport really does look good though, doesn't it? You got the different textures and colors the way it's supposed to be. I think it looks great. How far are you going to push me, man? Should have been right there.
Set parking brakes.
There we go.
Wait for your confirmation for good engine start.
Move it to start. Introduce the fuel. And let's jump out and watch. Because why not, right? It's a little twitchy there, isn't it? Oh, doesn't that sound beautiful? Alright, fantastic. So we'll let that finish starting up there. And alright, that is going to take us to our before taxi flows. So once that engine's running, we'll wait till it tells us it's running, and once it stabilizes completely, that goes away as well. So once that comes up, then we're going to turn off our APU. The engine anti-ice will stay as it is. We'll check the recall. Flight controls can be checked at that point. So let's pull up the flight controls on here. So systems, flight controls, and let's do the flight control check. We'll skip around a little bit here because it is what it is. You know what? I'm going to wait for that, and then we'll do our before taxi because it's just easier that way. Alright, everything's stabilized now, and I got my track IR turned on. That was part of the reason I broke away for just a second. Okay, let's jump up top here, and let's get the APU turned off. We don't need it anymore. So it just says APU, what does it say? Yeah, it just says off, nothing special. So turn it off, and I think we can leave the APU gen switches on. It doesn't say anything about it here. But I don't know, do we need them on or off? You would think it would clarify something like that. I think we leave them on. That's what you do. That's what you do in the 777. You leave them on, and that way when you start the APU, it just comes right back on. So I think that's what you're supposed to do. Anti-ice is good as is. Let's hit the recall switch right there. So TCAS being off, that's expected. Now we can do that flight controls check. So full left, and you can see everything's working now. That's fantastic. We're getting great frame rates too, by the way. Full right, neutral, all the way up, all the way down, and neutral, and then the rudder full left and full right, and that rudder works quick on this sucker. And neutral, that takes care of our flight controls check. Radio panel is good. We will put this, everything else, nothing's in yellow, so we don't need to check anything. So we can put this back on the CDU for now, and let's go to our, what are we on here? We're on our VNAV page, right? We need to go to our takeoff page. Press limit, takeoff. That's where I want to be, right there. This guy can go on the legs page. We'll leave ours on the takeoff page. Flight deck door closed and locked. We can check the doors on here. That's going to stay where it's at, so I'm going to do it on here. So systems, and then I know flight deck doors controlled, closed and locked, but I want to check just the doors, period. And they're all armed, and that's the way it's supposed to be. So good deal. What else? Radio panel. Doobie-doobie-doobie-doobie-doo. Oh, we do need to set the flaps. It's supposed to be flaps 5. So there's 1. There's 5, and they will work their way down. Reference speeds. What does it say here? Cross-check and verify. CDU takeoff reference page. We've already done that. Flap settings good. Thrust selection's good. Runway's been set. V speeds are set, and V2 is up on the MCP. Stab and rudder trimmer were both, let's see, stab trim was 4.25, rudder is at 0, radio panel is set, flight deck door is closed and locked, and we do the before taxi checklist. Anti-ice as required, recall has been checked, flight controls have been checked, and ground equipment is not clear because we didn't tell them that we had a good engine start. So they'll clear out now, we'll call them clear. And before takeoff, the flaps are set. So now, let's see. Let's put this back over where I like it. It would be great though if I could get the airport layout to show up on there. There must be some trick to that that I'm unaware of. Now we haven't really looked at our EFB at all. I don't use it all that much. That's what it comes down to, right? So we didn't jump in here. We didn't use the dispatch, nothing like that. Performance. You can use your charts in here. You know, we'll go. The EFB was not in the FSX version, which is the one that I did the full flight tutorial on. So maybe on the next flight, when we're getting ready to do our global tour, we will take a closer look at that. How's that sound? I think that sounds great. We are ready for taxi. We're just waiting on them. So once they're out of the way, then we shall taxi. Yes? Yes. Let me get settled here. Oh. Nope. Yep, that's before takeoff anyway. I don't know. What do you think of that view? Should it be like that, or should we be up just a bit more like that? I kind of feel like we should be up like that. So let's... Bam. There we go. Or bam, sis. Okay, track hour coming on a little jump here. There it is. That was a nice small jump too, wasn't it? Let's get those brakes off. There we go. Bring in a little thrust. And the TQ6 sucks. It's never even. And you barely need any thrust, especially with as light as we are. This bad boy just gets going, plain and simple. So you can see where we ended up parking over here, and that worked out much better for us because we had a little bit more room to work with. Now, for some reason, sorry, looking down there, my microphone sounds weird to me, so hopefully it sounds good to you guys. Now, I have the thrust at 0, just so that you know, and our ground speed is increasing. So that's something to keep in mind with this thing. It taxis quite easily, especially when it's light. So I don't want us to go too fast. We don't have a very long taxi, but I'm going to go ahead and finish it off, and I will see you guys when we're holding short of the runway, which clearly has a lot of inbound traffic. Alright, so there's EasyJet coming in. You can see runway ahead. The markings, I love the markings here. So this is the hold short line here. Alright, so we would hold short here until we're ready to pull on the runway. Track hour coming off a little jump. There we go. So let's take a look at our before takeoff flow. We need the transponder to TARA, which I've already done. And then I selected weather and traffic on here, and I'm going to turn airport off. So I've got weather and traffic both on here. And we're going to zoom that out just a little bit, and you can see there's another aircraft inbound. So yep, good stuff there. Okay, moving on. Weather, terrain, VSD, we've all set those as desired. Now we'll turn on the landing lights when we're getting ready to pull on the runway, but we are going to have to wait on this guy right here. And there's a lot of traffic coming into this airport, to be honest with you. What else we got here? Departure briefing is completed. Departure announcement is completed. Flaps are set. Transponders on TARA. Radar terrain mode. LNAV, VNAV armed. We've got all that done. And all we got to do now is the before takeoff a checklist, which is right here, and it's done. So we can put that back on the normal checklist. That'll be the after takeoff checklist there, which I'm just going to leave up. I'm not doing anything else with all that room over there, so I might as well just leave it up there. And then let's see. It does tell us if some different config warnings. So speed brake lever not down in the detent position. That would be this guy right here. If he's not all the way down, then you can get a takeoff warning there. It's takeoff config warning. Stabilizer position outside of takeoff range, trailing edge flaps not in position, leading edge not in position, parking brake set, door configuration warning. These are all things that the aircraft will let you know, hey, something's wrong here. Now we got a lot of aircraft. We still got 2 more inbound. So I'm trying to decide, do I just want to clear traffic or do I want to wait for them? Honestly, I think the right thing to do is wait for them. That's what I'm going to do here. You got to hold the brakes or this thing will go on its own. So I'm going to just put the parking brake on. I'm going to sit here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this traffic come in. But for your guys' sake, I'm not going to just sit here all quiet. Instead, I'm going to wait for the traffic to come in, and then in the editing, I will speed things up starting right about now. And of course the second one would be a nice slow prop plane, right? Okay, there's another one coming in. I'm not waiting anymore. Track hour coming on a little jump. There we go. Let's get this bad boy out on the runway and he can go around. Otherwise we're going to be here all day waiting on incoming traffic. Strobes can go on as well. Here we go. Takeoff is going to be pretty straightforward. You all know how it works. this thing will climb like an absolute beast. So we need to keep that in mind. I have 0 thrust on right now. This thing just wants to go. So keep that in mind as well. You're going to need to actually use your brakes. I'm not sure why that is. If it's not supposed to be that way, is it supposed to be that way? That guy's going to be pissed because he's going to have to go around. But we're gonna get going here pretty quick. We're not going to wait around. So, all right, let's just pull her out on the runway here. Don't want to go too fast. Little cough. There we go. You gotta have those coughs, right? Alright, swinging around. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Now. Might have overshot it. No, I don't think so. I think I undercut it, actually. Yep, I undercut it by quite a bit. It's amazing how sharp these things turn, isn't it? Okay, and let's get going right away. So, thrust coming in. I'm hoping he doesn't do a go-around right over our head. Okay, it's looking good. Thrust ref. And away we go. Hands on throttles.
Go set.
I can't barely hear him.
80 knots.
80 knots.
Rotate.
Rotate.
V2.
Up, up, and away. Positive rate. Gear coming up.
Gear up.
Drifting just a little there.
Traffic.
What is it saying? Hold on, track our off for a sec. Let me turn this up a little. Because I can't hear anything that he's saying. Alright, track IR coming back on. There we go. I had to reach way forward to turn my track IR off. Alright, looking pretty good so far. Nice view. Should be going to climb thrust here shortly. In fact, we're already on climb thrust. Fantastic. Let's get the speed coming up a little bit here, and then that will allow us to bring up our flaps. That's what we're waiting on. I did get the gear up, so we're just waiting on flaps to come up now. Just trying to hold that flight director course there. Wandering a little bit. That's what I do. Okay. Coming up on 6,000 feet, so we're going to need to level it off here. Let's go ahead and put the autopilot on for now. Let it do its thing. Come on. There it is. Come on! There we go.
Autopilot command.
Okay, let's start bringing those flaps up.
Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the.
Is that cabin announcements I'm hearing? Flaps coming all the way up. That's got to be cabin announcements I'm hearing, right? I don't know. Track IR coming off. Little jump here. There we go. All right, let's take care of our after takeoff stuff. That's what I'm going to call it. Stuff. I got to get to the right page here, though, because there's lots of stuff in here. Alright, gear is up, flaps are up, engine anti-ice is already set to auto. Our after takeoff checklist is complete over here, and that takes care of our after takeoff procedure and checklist. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it is time for some of that obligatory elevator music. Alright, so it's going to be a little weird as far as our descent and approach here. So we're past our top of descent point. It came up so fast I didn't have time to get things set up. And the reason I didn't is because I had to change our approach and everything as well. Doesn't matter, that's fine, because I've set up a hold at one of these waypoints up here. That's, I don't know why these are showing lower though. Oh yeah, I do actually. So let me just hop down here real quick. That's fine, we're going to be holding there either way. But I want to go to my legs page, so our hold is going to be at Wrexham, and we're going to put that, let's see, what does it say on the next page here? Come on. So 092, that's what we want it at. So we're going to put slash 092, and that's going to be our flight level here. Execute that, and then we want that again on this page, so slash 09. I don't know why it's got it in there twice. I kept trying to get rid of it and it wouldn't. So we're going to put it right there, execute, and that's probably, we're either on top of or past. I think we're past our top of descent. So let's take care of our descent procedures here real quick. We actually got to jump back down here, go to initial reference. This is our approach reference. We're going to land at, I mean, we could land faster, but we're going to do full flaps 136, and that takes care of that. Jumping back up here, you hit the recall really quick. You can see there's lots of nasty weather. We're going to be flying right into it. That's not ideal, but it is what it is. So we're not going to need auto brakes on this one. We got tons of runway to work with. We've selected our approach already. We're going to brief that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and get it on the descent here. So I'm going to switch this over to 1,000 feet, and it's 092. So let's bring this down to 9,000, switch it back over and go up 2, maybe 1, 2. And then just, it's already descending because we're well past our top of descent. That's why I set up a hold there. That way we can hold at that position. We'll be kind of in the storm, not the best place to be, but it is what it is. Now why, again, it's showing a descent below. Whoops. Come down here. Okay, we're staying with that. Clear that out. Go to our legs page. Why is it showing
Descent checklist.
Yeah, so it shouldn't, it just didn't change our vertical look, I guess. So whatever, it is what it is. It should just go into a hold either way, and it should descend down to 9,200 feet. So that takes care of our descent, but we still need to take care of our arrival and approach briefing. We're already on the arrival here. We'll show it to you real quick anyway. It is the Mercy 1A arrival, but we're bringing it short here at Wrexham. This is where we're going to hold at Wrexham. And I know that's not on here as a hold. This is where we're going to hold here at Wrexham, okay? And our runway is going to be right here. It's 5 right. So we're going to, the hold is a right turn, so we'll come out of the hold and continue a right turn and go on to final. And that's going to take us to our approach. But real quick, our ATIS is on 128.180, airport elevation 257 feet. And the rest of this I'm not that worried about right now because it's all messed up right now anyway. Alright, looking at our approach, it's the ILS runway 5 right approach. Again, ATIS on 128.18. Manchester radar on 18.58, and tower on 18.63, ground on 21.855. Localizer frequency is 111.55 with a final approach course of 052 degrees. Glide slope intercept at 1,510 feet, which, I don't know, that doesn't look right. It looks like 3,000 feet intercept here, right? That's FF5 right, which is the only waypoint it gave us in the FMC for that. But I am not seeing a glide slope intercept at 1,500 feet. So I'm not really sure about that, but we're going to descend to 3,000 at some point anyway. Decision altitude 386 feet. And let's see, missed approach, climb to 3,500 feet, straight ahead to 700 or right over the top of the, it says distance 0 IMC, which is right here. So missed approach is climb straight right here, and then it's going to be a right turn. So it's either right on top of this or at 2.3 from MCT, whichever is later, and then a right turn onto 186, and then as directed. So, and then we would probably just come back out and hold somewhere out here. So you can see on our vertical profile here, again, it looks like glide slope intercept is supposed to be at 3,000 feet here. I don't know why it says 1,510 here. It says at D4.0 from IMC, which would put us right here for glide slope intercept. So we'll see how that works out. Again, we haven't flown this in a while, but it should just be a straight-in ILS 386-foot decision altitude, and there we have it. Any questions about the briefing? Probably not. Alright. We're right in the heart of this storm. The absolute worst place to be. We shouldn't be here, but this is where we're at. And we're about to start our hold at Wrexham. Oh man, we are getting rocked too. So just a little note, guys. This is not the place where you want to be holding, for sure. Is there a better hold? Oh my goodness. There's got to be a better... We got to move away from this, right? Because we're going to be a few minutes yet. I'm just looking over here. Let's zoom this out a little bit. What are we looking at for weather? It kind of opens up, but we're going to be kind of holding right here. I don't know. This is a nasty little pocket. All right, I don't want to sit here and talk about it forever. Let's move on with what we need to do because we need to get ready for the approach. So the altimeters need to be set, and I'm going to use the cheater key for now because I'm way behind the power curve on this, and I do apologize for that. Our speed should be like way down. I don't know why we're still going so fast. Let's throw out some speed brakes because we're descending at like rocket speed here. Alright, so let's just make sure she goes into the hold like it should. Man, I would not want to be on this aircraft right now. I would not want to be on this aircraft. This would be a rough one. And it's not slowing down at all. Why, though? FMC message. What's our message? It says, unable to maintain VNAV descent speed, extend speed brakes as required. I'm already doing that. What are you talking about? Speed brakes are out. I just need it to come down. That's a nasty little storm we're running in here. Alright, for our approach procedure, our altimeters are set. We're going to be using full flaps, but we're going to do that as we come out of the... come on, brain function. As we come out of the hold. So there's our checklist item. Why that was kind of weird. Why is the descent checklist come after the approach checklist? Go back to normal real quick. Normal menu. Descent then approach. We did after takeoff. Why did it have the approach on there? Well, we've hit recall, we've checked our notes, our auto brake is good, landing data is set, approach briefing is complete. And just one more time as a reminder, so let's put this guy on legs page, and let's put this guy on the init ref page, initial reference. It's going to be flaps 30, 136 knots, and that will take us to our landing checklist, which will be an armed speed brake, landing gear down, and flaps set to 30. So just trying to get our speed down right now. Right now it's not coming down well at all. The aircraft is holding, but it's overshooting the hold. That's a tiny little hold anyway. I don't know why it's so small. I should have set it up different. Alright, so I'm going to hold here until I get to where I want to be. And actually I'm going to go ahead and descend further. I can descend all the way down to 3,000. So let's click that over, take it down to 3,000. There we go. Click it back over here. Try to remember that our missed approach altitude is 3,500. And I will continue this descent in this horrendous weather. I do apologize. I know that's not the right way to do it. I hope you guys will bear with me on this one. If you're in the back throwing up, I apologize for that as well. I'll see you guys back here when we're ready to fly the approach. Alrighty folks, we're going to be intercepting the glide slope here in a little bit. I got to tell you, there is a reason you don't fly in a storm like that. That was friggin' ugly. Let's get the speed brakes armed. Let's bring in that next setting of flaps. And our VREF is 136 and flaps 30. So let's bring this down 175 for the moment. I think that'll work out fine. Got plenty of room to work with there. That was rough. That was crazy rough. We're gonna have a bit of a crosswind coming in as well. You might be able to, I can make out the airfield off in the distance there. You guys might be able to see it as well. We do have the ILS frequency programmed, or the localizer frequency programmed into the nav1 radio. Now I was trying to get this set to the ILS or the approach mode on here, but it looks like all you get is you got the VR modes on here, or not the VR, the VOR modes on here, but not. I didn't see anything. I didn't see an ILS mode or an approach mode. So that was unfortunate, but it is what it is. We've already locked onto the localizer, as you can see. We'll go ahead and hit the approach switch now. You can see glide slope is armed there. We're on VNAV path right now, holding 3,000 feet. Then basically we're just going to cruise in until we intercept the glide slope, and we'll see how this landing goes. Now, I've had a hard time clearing my throat today. So listen, I get it that flying into this weather is not what you would normally do. We would have diverted, or we would have held somewhere else for a little while, something like that. But in this instance, we didn't. And I know that's not the right way to do things. I was just more interested in trying to finish up this flight, because this is about getting us ready for getting back on our global tour. That was kind of the idea there. So I hope you guys don't beat me up too bad in the comments, but you all know, not a good idea to fly in that weather, right? Final approach course is set. We're good to go. We should intercept the glide slope here right about now. So 136 plus 5 is 141. I don't want to bring it down too quick, but let's go gear down and bring the flaps to, what is it, 20 on this one? Yeah, flaps 20. Just waiting on that gear.
Flight attendants, please be seated for arrival.
And that's the cabin talking. Gears down. Let's go ahead and bring flaps 25. And flaps 30, and we want to be at 141 on here. There we go, looking good. So again, I do apologize for flying into such nasty weather. It did make for an interesting ride. I can tell you that much for certain. I've turned the weather radar off at this point because we don't need it. But yeah, just don't do that if you can avoid it. The right thing to do is obviously stay away from the weather, go to a hold point, or you divert to another airport. You wouldn't fly into a storm like that. That was absolute insanity. I can tell you that right now. So, alright, so we're on our final approach here. I'm going to turn the volume up just a little. Hopefully we don't get too much feedback. Oh, that's loud. It's like, I want to hear the call outs, but I don't want any feedback to you guys. Alright, so looking good. Nice stable approach here. Track hour coming on, a little jump. There we go. And I believe the throttles should auto idle on this aircraft as well. So we'll just fly on auto throttle here and turn the autopilot off here in a minute. It's surprisingly not bumpy down here, so that's good at least. Alright, coming up to our 1,500 foot mark. The windshield wiper's kind of small for that huge windscreen, isn't it? Alright, let's turn the autopilot off and see if we know how to fly this thing still. I think you got to do it down here, don't you? How do you disconnect the autopilot? Oh. I'm a retard. It's this switch. I'm like, how do I disconnect the autopilot? You know, the big autopilot disengage switch that you had to check during your pre-flights. Alright, let's check our landing checklist. Speed brakes are armed, landing gear is down, and flaps are set to 30. So we're looking pretty good here. And we're wandering to the right just a little bit. We have a little crosswind there, and it's very, very gusty. So, and we got a little high. That's me, right? Cap Mac, always high on approach. Why is our altimeter set to standard? I must have bumped it or something. There we go. My bad. And we wandered way over here. Look at that wind just gusting all over the place. Alright. Should be a fun landing, guys. Yeah. Alright, come on in there. Oh, come on, don't do that to me. Jeez. Let's not have that again, I hope. The frame rates have been great up till that point.
300.
Still a little high here, having a hard time getting her down.
Minimums.
This aircraft flies, man. Alright, let's bring her in.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Whoa. Not my finest landing. So So it did not automatically, as far as I could tell, it didn't auto reduce the throttles. Okay, not our finest approach or whatever, is it? Oh well, it is what it is, right? Sometimes you just gotta wing it. It's a good thing it's a simulator, because in the real world, your passengers would have been thrown up, they would have gotten injured, and you'd probably lose your job. So, alright, bringing in a little more toe brake here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing.
There's 30 knots there. That's still too fast. Alright, let's take her off the runway here. Let's get those landing lights off. Need the runway turn off lights on. Strobe lights coming off. So it looks like our it shows our landing rate is plus 50. So obviously something went wrong there. I think we came down a little hard, to be honest with you. I really do. Alright, track hour coming off, a little jump here. There we go. And let's bring her to a nice, gentle stop for just a second here and take care of that after landing checklist. There we go. Alright, let me just get to the right one here. And pages and pages and pages of stuff. Okay, speed brake needs to be down. If it's not already, it is not. So speed brake down. I know flaps can come all the way up. There we go. Reverse thrust is off. Transponder can go off as well. Put that all the way over to standby here. Let's get the APU fired up. On and start. Anti-ice is good. Lights are good. Weather radar is off. I turned it off on final approach there. And that takes... Oh, what do we got over here? Oh, it's the wrong checklist. That's why. There we go. Oh, that takes us to shutdown, though. No after landing. Nope. Straight to shutdown checklist. Alright, guys. So I will see you back here in just a couple seconds. And we will take care of our shutdown checklist. Alrighty, folks. Let's get these landing lights, or not landing lights, taxi lights off. We're supposed to be turning in right here, I think. Nope. I thought we were, and then he left. Is that us right there? Seriously? That's where you put us? Well, that's dumb. Look at that. You put us right in front of the fuel pump. Alright, so we got to swing back this way to swing back around. So listen, as we're doing this, I just want to reiterate, I know that flying through that storm is not the way to do things. I also know that we didn't do a proper descent procedure and all of that stuff. It has been a while since I flew this airplane, and so I kind of feel foolish because that was tough. And it didn't go the way I expected it to. This is going to be a really, really, really tight turn. Things just didn't go the way I was kind of hoping they would go, I guess. And so I just feel like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I feel a little foolish. I think I could have done a better job on this flight. And so I apologize for that. I think overall it wasn't terrible. I had a good time with it, but I think I just could have done better, you know. And I imagine some of you do too, but you guys are always really awesome about stuff like that, and so I just really appreciate that support that you guys always give. And yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to clarify that. I know better than to fly through a storm like that, and yeah, you want me to go that way, but it ain't gonna work, dude. Okay, look at this. He wants me to go another 78 feet forward. Are you kidding me? You see that? 78.6 feet forward we're supposed to go. That's all the way up by him. We're going to run over that freaking baggage cart. Come on. What kind of nonsense is that? We're not doing that. Let me put the brake on here. There we go. Brake's on. We're done with you, buddy. Track hour coming off, a little jump here. Yeah, so a little frustrated with the way things went. I do apologize for that. I hope you guys just bear with me on this one. You know, I think, you know, the idea of this video, again, I wanted to highlight that airport first and foremost. And then just an opportunity to get us back where we left off for our global tour so we can get back on track with that. And that was really the idea. So, yeah, not the best descent, certainly not flying through that weather, so I apologize for that, but I hope you guys just bear with me on it, and we can press forward and have some great times in this aircraft. So don't beat me up too bad in the comments. I guess that's what I'm getting at there. I'm done messing with him. So let's take a look at our shutdown shutdown procedures here. So the parking brake is set. Fuel cutoff switches. Our APU gen is already on. Fuel cutoff switches. We can cut both the engines. There we go. Fantastic. Seatbelt signs can go off. Not that anybody's going to be offloading, since you know, GSX doesn't know what they're doing out there. IRS selectors can go off as well. Way up top here, off and off. I don't know why those go off here, but whatever. Flight deck door power is fine. Fuel pumps can all go off. Let me just jump to a proper overhead view here. There we go. Fuel pumps off. All of those. The pressure light should stay off on that one. Engine anti-ice is fine. Beacon can go off. Wing lights can go off. Nav lights need to stay on. Flight directors are already off. I turned both of those off while I was taxiing in. Transponders on standby. And then external power as required. And we're going to end up leaving the aircraft in this state. So looking at this, the only thing left here is the hydraulic panel being set. And so the hydraulics can go off, right? So off, off. All of these off, and that should set our hydraulics panel. It does not, so I don't know what they want for the hydraulics panel to be set, because it doesn't say on here. It doesn't say anything on here. Beacon, HUD, EFB, transponders, IRS selectors, all that stuff's done. Yep, so I don't know what they want. Either way you shake it, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I feel kind of bad. I really do. It wasn't the best. I don't know, just flying in that weather is just a dumb thing to do, right? So, you know, we don't normally do that. I know we've had a couple times where we didn't go around and we should have and things like that. And so I'm trying to get away from those sorts of things. And so, you know, in the future, regardless of what we're doing, if we got weather that nasty, we'll hold somewhere. We'll do something. We'll divert to our alternate airport if we have to, just so that we're doing things properly. So, yeah, just my apologies on that, guys. I don't know. I just feel bad about it. I really do. So you guys let me know down in the comments what you think. Like I said, don't beat me up too hard. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button. I promise that not all flights are as crazy or as sort of short-sighted as this one is. And in the real world, we would never be that short-sighted. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. More thumbs up tells me we're doing good. I know a lot of you want to get back to that 787 global tour, and we're going to be kicking that off here shortly. So I'm looking forward to that as well. If you give the video a thumbs down, please give a little bit of feedback down there. Let me know what it is you don't like about the video, and if it's just because I flew in weather I shouldn't fly in, or I had a really crappy approach and landing, that happens sometimes. Bear with me, like I said, and we'll do better on the next one, guys. So I think that's going to wrap it up, folks. That's it. That's all and no more. So until next time, as always, keep the blue side up, or the very rainy gray side in this case, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all. Thank you again for your support. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day.